what you're saying is the AI will remember all the little details about each individual property and the different quirks that it has. That is game changing. Hey everybody, Jeff here from IntelliHost, and today I'm excited to sit down with a special guest. We've got Jay here with HostBuddy, and HostBuddy AI, I should say. Jay is making a splash, I would say, in the industry. I'm really excited to show you what he's got because he, first of all, is a seasoned host, and I am a big fan of not being a founder of a product that you're not a customer of. So Jay has been managing vacation rentals. I don't want to steal his thunder. He'll give us a little history, but he's very experienced in knowing what hosts need, and he's built an AI tool that I think is going to revolutionize your operations. And I wish personally, when we first started managing vacation rentals, we had HostBuddy AI, or that it was. I wish it was even out by then. But with that, Jay, welcome on, man.
Yeah, thanks, Jeff. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, can we just kick this off? I'd really like to just understand your background. Can you give us your journey? Like, where did you come from? How did you go from maybe even how you got into vacation rentals in the first place, and then walk us through to where you are now?
Yeah, absolutely. So I actually studied in school to be a civil engineer. So right out of school, I started engineering for a few years. Always, enjoyed it. From my mind is kind of goes in a operations perspective to a lot of things, and how to optimize systems and things like that. So I think that's sort of the main quality that led me down that path of engineering, and I was always good at mathematics and things like that. But I always also had an entrepreneurial spirit, and I started a few smaller businesses when I was in school and just out of school. So I worked as a civil engineer for a couple years, and always was kind of just looking for something more. And I discovered Airbnb arbitrage as a way to get into the short-term rental space in early 2021. So yeah, I think I was just really looking at it as a way of passive income at the time. I didn't really think it was going to be something that I would pursue full time. But by the end of the first year, by the end of 2021, I was able to quit my job and start hosting full time. So now I manage around 40 units in San Diego, California. It's a mixture of rental arbitrage and kind of management fee style deals. Majority are that management fee agreement, but yeah, slowly growing still. My main focus now is HostBuddy AI, but like I said, I was always kind of looking at ways to optimize businesses, make things more efficient. So I really focused on the operations within my short-term rental business. It was called Select Stays. And so about this time last year, I guess September of 2023, we're looking at ways to cut down on costs for guest communications. And we looked on the market. There was no AI solution available. So we decided to create our own. And, we've been using AI for a while just in our daily lives to enhance the guest experience in certain ways, at least enhance our listings in minor ways as well, and improve descriptions and titles and things like that. And with the improvement of AI in general in the past couple of years, we were really impressed with what it could do. So we started playing around with some simple chat bots and how it would respond to our guests, and teamed up with some software developers and created HostBuddy AI. So it's now what we coined is the most powerful AI messaging tool on the market.
I love it. I love it. It's bold, and I love your entrepreneurial spirit. That's inspiring. So tell me, how long have you been managing rentals?
So it's been 3.5 years now.
Okay, 3.5 years. Awesome. Wow. And you have how many units? 40 plus?
Around 40. Yep. Yeah, we're actually onboarding one this week, and some more here pretty soon. So yeah, still very, very much involved in that business. Like you said, I mean, I think it's really important to have that perspective as a STR operator. Also a software founder in the space. It really, really helps you understand the pain points of hosts and really tune your product to solving real world issues.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think that a lot of vacation rental managers right now are looking to decrease cost. as everyone knows, the vacation rental industry is in a tough spot right now. And whenever things get tough, we have to cinch up the belt a little bit. We have to really be diligent about our expenses. And so I think this is really good timing for a product like this, where we can start to make things more efficient in our operations. So tell me how it works, man. If I'm a customer and I'm like, well, okay, how does that, like, do I have to have a PMS? Can I do this on Airbnb, or how can HostBuddy AI help me?
Yeah, so basically the requirement is that you use a property management system. And that's because property management systems allow us to access all of the guest and reservation data and the property data. So our target market's anyone with typically over 5 or so properties, because we usually find that before then, people usually don't use a PMS. Sometimes they do, but we integrate with most of the major PMSs on the market. OwnerRez, Guesty, Hostfully, HostAway, Lodgify, Hostify, adding many more to that list. We have, I think, 10 or 11 total. So yeah, really just reaching a lot of that market and hosts who are getting overwhelmed with all of the different guest communication that's coming through, a lot of the repetitive messaging. And it's not just those repetitive messages that HostBuddy can take care of. It's also the problem solving capabilities that we've trained our AI to be able to do. So asking clarifying questions to come to a resolution, has a hospitable tone. It's very friendly. It sounds like a super host. So we spent a lot of time perfecting that language to make sure that it sounds like a host. And I think that's what's really important about the product that we've built. But back to how it works is it connects into your property management system, accesses all of your previous conversations to learn from those. And then as it's connected and it continues to respond to guests and get additional data, it actually improves its performance. And you can add additional details. You can add welcome documents, SOPs, anything like that. But as soon as you connect your property management system, it's going to have access to all that information and be able to interact with your guests. So I know once hosts get up to a certain amount of properties, sometimes, especially if they're newer properties, newer acquisitions, it's hard to remember all these little details about each individual property. So, like what kind of coffee maker do you have in it? Maybe if it's not standardized across all the whole board, like what kind of TV do you have? How do you troubleshoot a certain aspect of something in your property, right? And what we found typically is, especially with, even me, once I onboard a new property, I forget some of these little details, but the AI is trained very well, and it has all this huge data set that it's not going to forget. And that's the advantage of using AI. There's obviously things that it can't go and do. It can't go to the property and fix a leaky pipe or something like that. But in that case, HostBuddy will basically generate an action item for the host, and all of those things can be sent through text, email, Slack. There's a lot of ways that we've been able to keep the host in the loop. That way they can focus on the revenue generating activities during the day. If there is ever an issue, HostBuddy will let you know and you can kind of step in. And we're doing a lot of other things around messaging as well, including upselling and various other features like that.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So let me just clarify really quick what you just said, because I think it's a big deal, and I'm not sure everyone just heard what you said. Because what you're saying is the AI will remember all the little details about each individual property and the different quirks that it has. That is game changing. And the reason I say that is because just to give you an example, every year my family rents a property on a lake, just to get all of our family together. So we all kind of pitch into like a couple Airbnbs and have this big family and we get together. Anyways, I wanted to know if this property had 2 fridges. Well, it was hosted on Vacasa, and Vacasa was responding. And first of all, the response, I sent it a message. I didn't get a response until like the next day. So it took it that long to like get any kind of response. And I just wanted to know, does the property have 2 fridges? And so after a full day, I get a broken English like message back that says, if the property has 2 fridges, then it will be available. And I was like, well, that's so hopeful. Thank you. I guess. Thank you for making me wait a day for that. But what you're saying is that your software can actually look at all the different details, and maybe can it remember previous answers that you've maybe helped it with, or like it can learn over time the different quirks for a property, so you can give the correct answer every time and give it instantly instead of waiting for someone in a random country to respond with broken English?
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's a perfect example of you going on a trip with your family, and especially those bigger properties, or when you know you're trying to fit a certain amount of people in a certain house and you're like, what size are these beds? I can't tell from the photos, but it's not listed properly. All of that data is known by the AI, and I mean, the response time is less than a minute. So you can basically ask it immediately. It's going to respond to any reservation stage. So if that's an inquiry phase, even if you haven't booked it yet, it's going to be able to respond to your guests. Inquiry phase, past guest, even future guest, and then current. So everyone's covered. And the huge benefit that we're seeing is, you know, that nighttime communication, especially because that's a time where usually there's no standard human coverage at all
Yeah.
by hosts. And if you do have somebody covering overnight, it's typically pretty expensive. You're paying a VA maybe $5 to $10 an hour to cover that, sometimes even more, and that's every single night. And if you basically compare that to the cost of our AI, it's around $6 per listing per month. You save a lot of money, and you save a lot of money in potential lockouts if your technology fails. People have trouble just getting in. It totally enhances the entire guest experience. And what I tell people is it's not about replacing human coverage. It's just, we're enhancing the entire guest experience by providing the highest level of customer service. And when guests need something, they need something as soon as possible. If they're trying to go to bed and they're like, how does the AC work? I'm so frustrated, and there's no one to respond, and they go to bed tired and angry, versus having the AI come in and be able to troubleshoot that with them. It's night and day.
So I'm anticipating, as you're describing this, I'm anticipating a couple of big questions from customers. Number one, I think is, okay, but what is the AI going to call a maintenance technician if there's like a real issue? Like, how does it know when something, someone needs to be called or sent to handle an issue? I think that's number one. And number two, how is it going to not sound like ChatGPT? Yeah, because I can go and ask any question to ChatGPT, and it gives me very thorough, very elaborate response, but it is a ChatGPT response, and I'm sure that hosts might be concerned that it would sound like a bot. So question number one: how does the AI know when to maybe escalate, I guess, for lack of a better word? And number two, how does it sound like a real human?
Yeah, so the way that we have it set up is basically there's a way that the AI determines whether or not it can have a successful conversation or not. So there's a lot of different possibilities, but essentially, if there's something that it doesn't feel 100% confident that it has solved, it will generate whatever that is as an action item in your dashboard. So whether that is an early check-in approval that you haven't already told the AI it can do, whether that's a discount that the host needs to approve, or that's a property-specific issue like a broken chair or a broken couch or AC is not working or something like that. Those are all things that will be generated automatically, so you can get notified directly by HostBuddy through Slack, email, or text, and you can actually have those notifications categorized. So if there's a cleanliness issue, you can go to a specific contact. If it's a maintenance issue, you can go to a specific contact. So you can have that text go to, say, your maintenance person, if it's a maintenance related issue, or if it's a cleaning issue, it goes to your cleaning manager or your cleaner. So there's a lot of different opportunities there, possibilities. So essentially, the Slack feature we think is really cool too, because you can put it into a specific channel if you have your entire team on Slack. A lot of the property managers nowadays have a Slack organization. So if you have a cleaning channel in Slack, your cleaning issues will go automatically to there. Your entire team can see it. Someone can be dispatched that way. Or you can give HostBuddy specific directions to have the guest reach out to a certain a phone number. If it's a definite emergency and it's something that needs to be resolved immediately. There's a lot of different ways that you can kind of deal with those things. We just want to make sure that the host stays in the loop. So that's why we have all these different options of text, email, Slack, and then you can actually respond through Slack and say, like, here's how to resolve it, and just tell HostBuddy how to do it. and it'll go and figure it out and go and send a proper message.
Got it. So it'll actually alert the maintenance person of a maintenance issue if that's what it's detecting is the issue, and then it flags you to let you know that it's doing that. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
And then you can go and manage those issues within your dashboard. So if you know something has been solved, you just press complete. It'll take it off of your incomplete tasks and move it over. Also, HostBuddy is always analyzing the conversation. So if it determines that an issue has been resolved, it'll automatically complete it for you.
Awesome. That's cool. So then what about the second question? How do you sound like a human? Like, how do I not sound like a robot?
Yeah. So, I mean, we spent a long time perfecting this language, and people think that, I know it depends on the person, but sometimes people think, it's easy just to plug in a ChatGPT, base model and just have it respond like a host. Just tell it to be a host and it'll do everything. It's really
Yeah.
not that easy. It takes a lot of prompting to put it in a very simple term. It's in the prompting, but we basically have, I don't want to give away all of our secrets, but it's a
Yeah,
it's a
no, don't
it's a
give away
unique
secrets.
way that we've programmed it to essentially address the tone, address certain issues that unique issues, um, and in general, with our perspective as hosts, we have a very good idea of how we want it to sound. And we've had a couple competitors enter the space as well, with a similar chatbot functionality. And we've had people come to us, users of the competitors, just looking for a better solution. And I think that's something that we found is extremely important to establish that trust. So we literally spent, I think, 6 months just like perfecting it. It was like, okay, why is it responding this way? Let's tweak it a little bit. And I mean, we have an amazing software development team on our team, so we're able to kind of work with them and figure out how to actually implement these little details into the responses. And I mean, it wasn't right off the bat that we just made this AI sound like a host. It definitely took some time, but we've nearly perfected that language, and AI is only going to improve over time. So we're super excited about that. I think there's a lot of opportunity in the future for AI to be picking up phone calls and answering simple conversations and things like that. There's already a lot of real world applications of that right now with AI, but I think we do have a little bit more time until that's something that we can implement into the SDR space and make sure that people are taken care of. But yeah, a lot of really exciting things, but where we're at right now, I'm really happy with and proud of what we created with our product.
I love it. I love that. Would you be able to give us an example? Like, could you read maybe like a back and forth between a customer that was between the customer and your AI and how that went? I hate to put
Yeah.
you on the spot because you may not be just like ready for that, but I think it's really important for customers to see a little bit more of the sauce, because it's one thing to say like it sounds just like a host, but these same hosts are also, they've been on phones with the remote assistants and from Taiwan, and they all say like, oh, there's no accent, it sounds like someone from America, and then you actually get on the phone and it's like, no, this does not sound like someone from America. And so I think there's a healthy dose of skepticism when it comes to this, and so I'd like to see maybe give the customers a taste of this and see, so they can see it for themselves.
Yeah, it's funny, we're actually creating a page like on the front pages of our website that has all these like real examples that are getting pulled,
Sweet.
which I need to find, but I know I had sent, whenever we see like just fantastic responses, I send it in the group with my team and just like, HostBuddy's killing it today. Let me see if I can find one, because there was one recently that I was really happy with, and it's a good example of how HostBuddy can not only use the data that it is given through the property management system and the conversations, but also reference basically the internet. So
That's so cool. While you're pulling that up, I'm curious if can HostBuddy actually customize the style? I'm sorry, can the host customize the style of the AI to say like make it more lax or less professional, like make it more, if they want a more professional type of voice, or if they want something less, like what, can they customize that?
Yeah, they can. And that's something where it comes down to like the it's basically limitless how you can customize it, but there's places within the settings for our AI where you can type in the tone that you'd want, and it'll tweak it as much as it can. What we found is the most effective is turning on the setting where HostBuddy will read the past conversations and adjust to the tone. So it'll sound like your historical tone. But sometimes if people have virtual assistants or they have somebody else on their team that they didn't really like the way they're responding and they're looking to improve that, we recommend just to turn that off, because if they're looking for an even better, overall tone and language, HostBuddy our default tone for HostBuddy is usually very acceptable for most hosts. And we're adding here pretty soon in our settings ways that you can go in and just check like specific specific adjectives, I guess, of how you describe HostBuddy. And so like I think there's probably gonna be like 3 or 4 levels. And so some people just like him to be really just short and straight to the point. And I would say we're somewhere in the middle where it's really friendly, but it's not going to go into super in-depth detail of trying to going over the top to make sure that they know that you're really excited about their stay and on all these things. So yeah, there's definitely some ways to manually do that, but we're actually implementing that in the future into a specific setting.
So what you're saying is then, let's say I'm a host who's been answering all the messages myself, and I haven't let anyone else do it because I'm super anal about communicating a specific way. You could actually have HostBuddy read all my past messages and mimic my style.
Exactly. Yeah, that's essentially what it does by default, which is really cool. And I think it's very valuable to ensure that people don't feel like they're not communicating with the host. And there's a lot of different things that you can do there as well. So what we offer within our settings is basically you can have HostBuddy never reveal that it's AI. You can have it tell the guest that it's AI. You can have a little signature that says like, Jeff's AI assistant, or you can have it basically defer to a host, defer to the team, always embody itself as the host. So there's ways that you can basically program it to sound exactly how you like. Because I know some people, if they want, I know how we used to inform our VAs on how to deal with issues. It would be basically like if there's an issue that we didn't have a specific answer for at the time, we'd say, let me talk to my team and get back to you. So that's something that you basically, the defer to team setting is something that we put in our software for that option.
They'll say, oh, let me ask somebody real quick, and then I'll wait a few minutes and answer again.
Yeah, exactly.
That's awesome. No better way to sound like a human. Well, that's cool. So were you able to find an example of communication?
I thought it was in the chat, but I can, oh wait, let me see. Is this it?
I totally put you on the spot here, so no worries.
No, I love it. I love it. I'm gonna text I'll text my group and see if they can send it to me by the end of the call. But basically, it was like, someone was saying they sent a different Airbnb listing, and they said like, hey, do you know what landmark this is? And is your property close to it? And they sent a photo of basically it was a photo on a Airbnb listing of a specific building at a park in San Diego. And we were able to analyze that photo. HostBuddy was able to analyze that photo and determine exactly what it was, and basically send back a response and say, yes, we're exactly 5 minutes away from this specific landmark at this park. Let me know if you have any other questions. And then they sent another one, and it did basically the exact same thing. So it was instant too, like within a minute. And that type of thing, like if you're not familiar with an area, especially if you have virtual assistants, like that's going to take a long time for somebody to go and find that information. But I saw that come through and I was like, wow, that was quick. And they were probably
and then
like,
you give away that you're an AI because they're like, there's no way that anybody knew that or information that fast.
It's suspiciously fast. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
we
too good.
we have a delay setting in our settings in case somebody wants to like just feel a little bit more organic. And there's
Yeah.
basically like you can set a minimum and a maximum time, so it varies. So if you want to do it from like 3 to like 7 minutes as a response time, it'll sometimes do 3, sometimes do 5, sometimes 4, sometimes 6. So yeah, some people do that. Most people just like to have it done as quickly as possible because I think guests appreciate that. So yeah,
Yeah,
I'll
I
see if I
mean,
can find the actual chat and then I can show you. But that was a good example recently.
that's awesome. I mean, as a customer, I don't really care if it's an AI as long as I'm getting the answer I need, right?
Yeah,
Like, I mean, I think as time goes on too, AI is going to be continually used more and more, and people will just be more accustomed to that. You know, maybe you have some boomers that just want to talk to a human, but the reality is we just want the answer that we want, I think. Um, that's awesome. Let's move on a little bit. What's next? I mean, what's next for HostBuddy?
yeah. So some of the things that we're doing right now are we're getting really creative with what we call smart templates.
Mm-hmm.
And so HostBuddy's always analyzing guest conversations to determine if the guest is having a positive or negative experience. Sometimes it's just neutral because some guests just don't really respond to anything. They check in, they check out. It's all good. But we're doing a lot of things with that. So for example, I know a lot of hosts, when a guest checks out, maybe the same day, maybe a day later, they'll ask, um, thank you so much for staying with us. We really enjoyed hosting you. If you wouldn't mind giving us a 5-star review on Airbnb or whatever the OTA is, that would really help us improve our business. Although those messages can be automated in a property management system, but they're still going to be sent out to guests who have potentially had a negative experience. And so a lot of times that'll just piss them off, and then they'll go and give you a 1-star review when maybe you could have
Yeah.
just avoided having a review posted altogether. So what we've done is created a smart template so that basically it's the same sort of idea as a template and a trigger that you'd see in a PMS, but now we're implementing that sentiment measurement so that factor is now, if you only want to send that message to guests who had a positive experience, then you can, or guests who had a positive and a neutral experience, you can as well. So things like that. We also have a Turno integration. So, and Breezeway is one that we're also working with here pretty soon to be able to allow HostBuddy to access when a cleaning has been finished and then offer an early check-in to the next guest automatically.
Yeah.
So it's things like that that just in general, it improve the entire hosting experience, the guest experience. There's a lot of really cool things that you can do with AI that people are still doing manually. You know, you have to
Totally.
text
Totally.
the cleaner and figure out when the cleaning is going to be done to see if you can do an early check-in. There's just a lot of opportunity there where we can improve the guest experience, and that's really where we're focusing on right now, because I think that's our mission in general. It's not just to have a generic AI chatbot that can answer questions for you. It's our mission is to improve the guest experience, and there's a lot of things that go with that, and AI is so impressive now. So a few other things in general, our review removal tool is something that we released here pretty recently. It's essentially using our conversational analysis with our AI. HostBuddy will determine if an Airbnb review breaks the Airbnb review policy or whatever the OTA
Nice.
policy is.
Yeah.
So it'll cross-reference it with their stay and basically decide if it's biased, or if there's extortion involved or
Yep.
something like that. Typically, like if a guest comes to stay and they're complaining about the traffic in the 1-star review, you can get that removed, because it's not really about the stay. That's just a general
Yep.
understanding of the area. So things like that can increase the host average reviews as well are really important. And I know that's a process that we used to do manually every single week. Okay, let's look at all of our reviews. We had to have a team meeting and with our VAs and say, which ones do we think we can get removed if they're bad? And now that's something that's just done automatically. So it's really cool, kind of the things that you can do. And that's one of those things where that feature is very unique to HostBuddy, and it's because I'm a host and I've seen these issues and I've seen these things that are necessary within the STR space as a host. And if you're not working within the STR space and you're just somebody that's within tech, it's a lot harder to understand and really address these issues.
Yeah, 100%. And I can speak from experience that that value alone of being able to identify and remove bad reviews is super beneficial. And it requires a level of expertise too, to know what types of reviews Airbnb is most likely to remove. And if you've already got that programmed in, that alone is just tremendous value. I mean, the one bad review can lose you tens of thousands of dollars in revenue. So
Yeah.
that's really cool. I love that. Well, Jay, this has been super helpful, and I hope the listeners are as excited as I am about this. Is there any final, like anything else you want to mention that we haven't talked about?
I mean, there's there's just so many things within HostBuddy now. Our core functionality is the messaging, and that's what we tell people. Because now, like, if you're a host and you look on the market, say you have a Guesty or OwnerRez or HostAway or something, and you're looking on the integration marketplace, you're probably going to see several different AI companies, and there's a lot of different softwares out there. What we tell people about HostBuddy is that the differentiating factor is the AI that we've built within it. So it's it's further along than a lot of the other AI tools on the market, and our pricing is definitely the most affordable as well. So we like to work with our users right now and just determine what the main pain points are, and really work with our host to improve our product. So that's what kind of differentiates us as hosts. I didn't really mention the upsell features, but that's just kind of something where you can also maximize your revenue by offering extended stays or early check-ins to guests who are checking in before or after a gap night. So there's a lot of opportunity here to really capitalize on additional upsells, and AI can do all of that for you. So there's a lot here coming. We have a ton of extra features in the pipeline, and we're really excited to continue pushing this and working with our existing users and benefit the entire SDR space. So I appreciate you having me on here. I think your platform is great in what you're doing with IntelliHost. There's a lot of in general that I've noticed with just improving the guest experience and the hosting experience in general. So yeah,
Awesome.
I appreciate you on here, Jeff. It's been fun discussing this.
Yeah, and thanks for being on with us. Where can people find you?
Yeah, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook. If you go to HostBuddy, I think it's HostBuddy AI, HostBuddy_AI. You'll find us if you type in HostBuddy. But our website is hostbuddy.ai. You can sign up for a free demo there. We also have a free 14-day free trial for whoever starts an account with us. So yeah, basically no reason not to get signed up and just play around with it. The AI is really cool. We also put we're the only AI software company that's put our AI messaging on the front page of our website for people to play around with, because that's how confident we are with what we've developed. So if you go to hostbuddy.ai, you can go to the Meet HostBuddy link at the very top. You can go and just send it a bunch of messages and try to break it. So yeah, I love recommending that to people. So
That's cool. That's a really cool feature. Well, awesome. Jay, thanks so much for being on with us. This has been a pleasure. And again, can't wait to see where you guys are in just a few years. I think you're going to blow up.
absolutely. I appreciate it, Jeff. Thanks.